Childhood attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. A child sits at his desk in class staring off into space as the teacher gives the students instructions for homework before giving them time to start the assignment. He has written down the assignment but cannot seem to turn his attention to his work. He plays with his pencil and paper, drawing pictures down the side of his homework page. During class, he fidgets and squirms. He has asked several times to stay in his seat after wandering around the room visiting his classmates. His classmates are annoyed with him, but his closest friends kindly tell him to sit down and work on his homework so he doesn't get into trouble. He has been in trouble several times for wandering around the room, taking things that do not belong to him or without permission, and physically hurting others without realizing it. He becomes emotional and beats his head against the table or chair when he tries to do his homework or does not get what he wants at home. He cannot concentrate on his work. His grades are falling, and his parents have tried to help him to no avail. This is just an example of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Knowing about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. In the United States, over the past 2 decades, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is the most commonly diagnosed psychiatric illness in children and adolescents. Many parents have no idea what attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is or how to recognize the symptoms. ADHD is recognized by a triad of symptoms within 3 domains: overactivity, impulsivity, and inattention. As a parent of a newly diagnosed child with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, I have witnessed many of these symptoms on a daily basis for the past few years. At first, I did not consider the possibility that his symptoms may be that of ADHD. I felt he was just acting out because of his age. He would throw temper tantrums, scream, yell, stomp his feet, and cry when he would get into trouble. He began destroying things throughout the house, lying even when he was caught, and taking things that did not belong to him to give to other children. Eventually, he took off down the road alone in a fit of rage while I was at work one day. I had no choice but to seek medical treatment for him to prevent him from harming himself or others. Defining attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. ADHD is defined by the following symptoms: impulsivity, when a child does things to hurt themselves or others without being able to stop themselves; overactivity, when a child has trouble sitting still, staying seated when they know they are supposed to remain seated, or runs off when they are out with others; inattention, when a child cannot focus or concentrate for more than a few seconds or minutes at a time. In a more recent study, it was discovered motor coordination difficulties are associated with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This motor coordination difficulty is not associated with culture or ethnicity, affects both genders, and is present in all 3 subtypes of ADHD. The 3 subtypes of attention deficit disorder are hyperactivity, without hyperactivity, and residual. Problems seen in ADHD. A child diagnosed with ADHD may have problems with family relationships. This could be parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, or anyone living within the household. Social interactions. They may separate themselves from their peers or cause their peers to withdraw from them. Academics. This could be a significant drop in grades that could be detrimental to their development and moving on to the next level. Parents and their children diagnosed with ADHD. Prior to treatment, parents have already seen a difference in their child that did not present itself before. Perhaps the child has become violent, careless, refuses to do chores or daily tasks when asked. Perhaps the child has decided schoolwork is no longer important to them. They may have even become withdrawn at home. It is important for parents to know how to help their child cope with ADHD. Evaluating children for ADHD. ADHD is sometimes hard to recognize in children. An evaluation form can be sent to teachers and family members by the pediatrician to determine whether or not the child has ADHD. Each teacher and family member answers a group of questions regarding the exhibited behavior of the child while in their presence. These questions determine whether or not the child has ADHD and the severity of the symptoms being exhibited by the child in question. The questionnaires frequently used by parents and teachers to evaluate ADHD are CRSR, SNAP-IV, and the Vanderbilt ADHD Rating Scale. When teachers fill out the questionnaire, they are evaluating how the child behaves in the classroom. Academic behavior like homework and tests, organizational skills, how long it takes them to take a test, are they paying attention. When the family member fills out the questionnaire, they're evaluating the behavior of the child at home. This could also apply to homework at home. Behaviors such as getting out of their seat when they are supposed to remain seated, climbing things, squirming in their seats, and fidgeting, not focusing on the task they have been given, and being cruel to classmates or other family members are signs of ADHD. This is the type of behavior evaluated to diagnose ADHD. Treatment for children with ADHD. Parents need educated on what ADHD is and how it is treated. In helping a child who is diagnosed with ADHD, there is always information available for parents. Parent programs are also available to help parents. The problem with that is there are not always programs within close proximity of the parents for them to attend. Today, there are few community-based programs or support groups for families with children who have been diagnosed with ADHD. Bringing together a community. The best plan of attack is to create a community group for parents of children who have been diagnosed with ADHD. There should be a local group where parents can share information with one another about effective coping mechanisms for helping their children. Children with ADHD can be violent with themselves or others and be intent on doing what they would rather do instead of the task that is given to them. The community group should be able to help educate parents on how to break down these situations and handle them appropriately. Moral support. By creating a program where the families and children learn to cope with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, we can make it easier for children diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder to transition into adulthood. The group can help families slowly increase responsibilities of the children, increase expectations of their relationships, move on to college or technical schools, help them be able to hold employment, and be independent. All of these things are a challenge for a child diagnosed with ADHD when transitioning into adulthood. By working together as a community, families can move forward in a more confident manner and help their children move to the next level. People with ADHD must be able to transition from childhood to adulthood to become independent and take care of themselves. This program can help the transition through moral support from the child's family and the community. Whether or not the person with ADHD decides to continue treatment, the community will be there to support them. Parents should know the child's symptoms may reduce with age and become more manageable.